The year is 2025 and well, a chill wind blows for many young people. Former President Trump has announced a significant plan. He intends to revoke visas for many Chinese students who are currently studying in America. The administration describes this proposed action as aggressive. News of this potential policy spread like wildfire, creating a palpable sense of unease across campuses. Thousands of lives, dreams, and academic careers hang precariously in the balance. This story is still unfolding, day by day, as we approach May 30th. Imagine for a moment being a young student who has traveled thousands of miles from home. Your heart is set on learning, on discovery. You are enrolled at a prestigious U.S. university working diligently. Then suddenly your entire future becomes profoundly uncertain. This is the stark reality confronting thousands of Chinese nationals, and fear has become a constant, unwelcome companion. They worry about their ongoing education, and intensely about the looming possibility of being forced to leave the country they chose for their studies. There are approximately 277,000 Chinese students in the United States. This data reflects numbers from late 2023 or early 2024. This is a substantial figure. They constitute one of the largest, most vibrant groups of international students, enriching American university campuses immeasurably. They bring diverse perspectives and contribute to a global learning environment. Now, each one of these students faces an enormous question mark. Their individual stories, their aspirations, are directly at stake. The collective anxiety is immense. The very thought of being compelled to leave is terrifying for them. Years of dedicated study could potentially be nullified, and precious friendships and valuable academic connections might be abruptly severed. The disruption to their lives would be immense, almost unimaginable. This is far more than just a bureaucratic policy change. For these students, it represents a deeply personal crisis. Many have built temporary lives here, forming communities and routines. Now those carefully constructed lives feel exceptionally fragile, subject to forces beyond their control. Why is this drastic measure being proposed now? The United States government, under this potential policy, cites very serious concerns. Espionage is frequently mentioned as one primary worry. The theft of valuable intellectual property is another significant justification. These are not minor accusations. They carry heavy implications. The focus of these concerns often narrows to sensitive fields of study, like cutting-edge technological research programs, advanced engineering disciplines, and scientific innovation. These specific academic areas are under intense scrutiny.
The proposed policy appears to specifically aim at certain groups of students. Those individuals with alleged or demonstrable links to China's military apparatus are a key target. Students involved in critical technology sectors are also highlighted. However, a major issue is that the precise criteria for these determinations remain vague. This lack of clarity is a significant problem for everyone involved. Who exactly fits the targeted profile? Students are largely left guessing, trying to interpret opaque guidelines. This pervasive uncertainty only breeds more anxiety and distress among the student population.
Mr. Trump has in the past used very strong and specific language. During his 2023 campaign, he spoke openly about banning certain ideological groups. He specifically mentioned Christian-hating communists, Marxists, and socialists, vowing to bar them from the country. He also previewed a policy move involving Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act. This particular law grants authority to deny entry to individuals deemed detrimental to U.S. interests. This signals a broader ideological underpinning to the current visa concerns. It's not solely about specific actions, it's also about perceived affiliations. This current plan to revoke visas was not conceived overnight. Reports suggest that Mr. Trump's aides and allies have been developing this crackdown for several years. Influential political figures, such as Senators Tom Cotton and Marco Rubio, have publicly supported such measures. They have long been proponents of imposing restrictions on Chinese nationals studying in the U.S., particularly in STEM fields. Furthermore, there has been related legislative action. The House of Representatives, for instance, has previously moved to target Department of Homeland Security funding for colleges maintaining Confucius institutes or those with perceived ties to Beijing's security apparatus. This is not an entirely unprecedented situation. A 2020 executive order issued by then-President Trump set a clear precedent. That order specifically barred Chinese graduate students and researchers with perceived ties to China's military-civil fusion strategy. That particular order remains in effect today. Many students have already felt its direct and disruptive impact, therefore the current, more expansive plan feels like a significant escalation. It appears to build upon those previous actions.
For many, it is a familiar yet now far more intense and widespread threat. Such aggressive policy actions inevitably strain U.S. China relations. These pivotal international relations are already exceptionally complex and often fraught with tension. The Chinese government in Beijing has lodged formal protests, characterizing the U.S. actions as politically motivated and discriminatory. This diplomatic friction adds yet another layer of complexity. Constructive dialogue and cooperation become even more challenging to achieve, and mistrust between the two global powers deepens.
The implications of this strained relationship extend far beyond academia, affecting global trade and security. The free flow of academic exchange suffers greatly under such policies. American universities rely heavily on international students, including those from China. Chinese students contribute significantly to vital research initiatives across numerous disciplines. They fill essential seats in many graduate programs, particularly in science and engineering. Losing a substantial portion of these students means a tangible loss for U.S. institutions. Innovation could potentially slow down, and the vibrant, diverse campus environment that fosters creativity is undeniably diminished. This represents a considerable setback for the international standing of American higher education.
Adding to the complexity, there is also an observable cultural shift within China itself. A growing suspicion towards foreign-educated individuals has been noted. Prominent public figures and business leaders have sometimes expressed this distrust. Dong Mingju, a well-known businesswoman, is one such example. This evolving sentiment creates an incredibly tough predicament for Chinese students. They might face undue scrutiny or prejudice if they return to China after studies abroad. They find themselves caught between two worlds, two sets of pressures. Neither environment seems entirely welcoming or secure at this moment. This is a heavy, multifaceted burden to bear.
The personal stories emerging from this situation paint a grim and anxious picture. Consider the case of Xiao Chen, a 22-year-old prospective student. He had received an acceptance letter from the prestigious University of Michigan. Yet, his U.S. visa application was abruptly rejected. No clear, specific reason was provided for this life-altering decision. This outcome is utterly heartbreaking for him and his family. Years of dedicated hard work, ambition, and dreams were dashed by a single, unexplained bureaucratic action.
Many other students now share similar profound fears. Their carefully planned personal and academic journeys are abruptly halted or thrown into chaos.
Experts in immigration law, international relations, and higher education are watching these developments closely. Some analysts suggest that the aggressive visa revocation plan might be partly symbolic. It could be interpreted as a strong political statement in a complex geopolitical landscape. However, these experts universally agree on one critical point. The fear pulsating through the Chinese student community in the US is undeniably real. It is not an imagined or exaggerated threat. The psychological toll of this sustained uncertainty is immense. Living with constant anxiety is emotionally and mentally draining. It directly affects their academic performance and overall well-being.
What practical steps can affected students take in this challenging environment? Staying thoroughly informed is absolutely crucial. Students should diligently follow official updates from U.S. government sources like the State Department and DHS. University International Student Services offices are invaluable resources. They can often provide the most current guidance and support. It is important to understand that policies, especially new ones, can be vague or subject to interpretation. However, having the latest available information helps in preparing for different potential scenarios. This is undoubtedly a time that calls for heightened vigilance and proactive engagement.
Seeking qualified legal advice is also a very important consideration. This is particularly true if a student receives any official notice regarding their visa status, or if their status changes unexpectedly without clear communication. Experienced immigration lawyers can explain complex legal options and rights. Many universities provide access to legal resources or can refer students to appropriate counsel.
It is vital for students to remember they are not alone in this. Support systems exist. This entire story is still unfolding, and the situation remains fluid. The human cost, the impact on individual lives and futures, is at the very center of this ongoing issue.